change that today. We have with us the crown jewel of masonry of Dakota Territory, a beautiful gold jewel that represents all of us together as a Masonic body of the territories. And for this occasion, on behalf of our Grand Lodge, we thought it very fitting that this Grand Master would be the first in these 127 years to wear this jewel. I hand it to you, Right Deputy Grand Master Mark, to place it upon our brother.
Thank you, Brother Jim. Grand Line officers, distinguished guests, brothers and ladies all, it's a great pleasure that I am here before you to do something that nobody has done in 127 years. The magnitude of that is just mind-boggling. So on behalf of the Grand Lodge of North Dakota, the other half of the Dakota Territory, and our Grand Master Roger Stout, and all of the Dakota Territory brethren, it gives me great pleasure to present Most Worshipful Mike Rodman, the Grand Jewel of Dakota Territory.
I just want to say on behalf of the 5,500 Masons of South Dakota, I humbly accept this honor for today. We've been brothers for 127 years and will continue to be brothers together between the two North Dakota and South Dakota for the next 127 years. It's my pleasure that you are here today. I can't tell you how much this means to all of us here in South Dakota. Thank you very much.
Please welcome your host for today's program, world-renowned forensic geologist and host of the History Channel series, America Unearthed, Brother Scott Walter.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome here today. This is my distinct honor and pleasure to be here. And I'm just going to confess right away that I'm a brand new Mason. I haven't been a Mason for a year yet, but already I haven't done anything. But I have to say, I am so proud and humbled to be here and supported by all of these new brothers I met today. And I have to call out my Masonic brothers from my home lodge, or my home state of Minnesota, and home lodge of Wayzata 205. Stand up, guys, real quick. Thanks for coming. I owe you one. Well, today we're here to celebrate the 75th anniversary of this amazing carving behind us. You're going to meet some wonderful people here today, and this is going to be truly a memorable event. How about this weather? Thank you, deity. I also want to talk a little bit today briefly about the Masonic influence of this monument that you see behind us. These four men that I think we all know: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. How many of you think that all four of them were Freemasons? Raise your hand. Very good. Only three of them were Masons. George Washington, of course, is one of our amazing founding fathers. He, of course, was a Freemason. Teddy Roosevelt was. Many people didn't know that Thomas Jefferson was a Freemason. However, he was not raised in the United States. He was raised in France at the Lodge of Nine Sisters. And Abraham Lincoln was to become a Mason. Unfortunately, he was assassinated. Before that, he was able to be raised. But I think we'll give him a pass as an honorary brother today, for sure. You know, one of the things that I've talked about for quite a long time, long before I became a Freemason, and that is, in our country, we lionize these men up here and many other Masons at the time of the revolution of our Constitution and the founding of our country. In fact, these founding fathers, as we call them, who were almost all Masons, were these great men that, as I said, we lionize to the point of near godlike status. And this is what we learn in school about these great men. What we don't learn about, or rarely learn about, is the fact that they were Freemasons. And my question is, does their being Freemasons have anything to do with their greatness? I asked this question long before I became a Mason, and the answer that I came to was absolutely. And I was disappointed that in our country people don't learn more about the Masonic influence of our country. And I personally would like to see that change. I would like to see more Masons be raised in the future, because I think the more Masons we have, the better chance we have of people, especially in government, making decisions in the greater good, for the greater good, instead of self-interest. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, how many people are not Freemasons? Okay, there's a few. Well, we're going to do something about changing that, maybe. You know, for the Brother Masons here, I just want to say one thing. And a Brother Mason in Minnesota was the one, Don Nolly, area deputy with Grand Lodge in Minnesota. I give this credit to him. And he said that if someone came up to him and said, "What is a Mason?" and you only had 30 seconds, this is what Don says. A Mason is somebody you can trust with your money. A Mason is somebody you can trust with your wife. A Mason is someone you can trust with your secrets. A Mason is someone you can trust with your life. Is that true? I think so. Today, you're going to see some ceremonial wreaths handed off and displayed. And for those of you that don't know about the laurel wreath, it goes back to at least the time of the Greeks. And when they had their Olympic Games, the people that won the various events were crowned with the laurel wreath, was symbolic of their victory or this grand accomplishment. And so today, as we talk about these people, I introduce these people, think about this grand accomplishment that we are celebrating here today. Right there. 75 years ago, something amazing happened. It's one of the iconic images of our country. So, we're here to acknowledge a victory of independence and this great accomplishment of Mount Rushmore. So, with that, I'd like to start with the first introduction. I would like to have the master of Mount Rushmore's 220 Lodge, and no, that is your job. I'm ahead of myself. I apologize. Who I would like to introduce is the Eagle Butte Masonic Lodge representatives, Ira Briggs, Dan Booth, and anyone else coming? Come on down, guys. Okay. Dan's going to take the microphone. You ready to go? I got a little script here for you.
Very good. I thank the Masons and the significance of the wreath that Scott has mentioned. We are about to present. Got several members of our lodge here present that are going to set the wreath. Brother Ira Briggs, who you've already met, Mike Gwynn, Jeremy Shadd, Harry O'Neill, Robert Booth, Robert M. Booth, and Jim Peterson. Thank you.
All right, there's your first wreath. Before we do any more introductions, I actually was on the right track, but I didn't realize it. I want to introduce and thank Steve Barnes, who is master of Mount Rushmore Lodge 220 and today's voiceover talent. And that man's got some pipes, doesn't he? I want to thank the color guard. Seriously, where are you? They're gone. They're over there. Well, you're not forgotten. And Tony Larson for singing our anthem. Beautiful job. And as I talked a little bit about the celebration and the Masonic influence. And now I would like to introduce Most Worshipful Brother Larry Coleman Jr., representing the Kansas Prince Hall Lodge. Brother, come on up.
Thank you. I bring you greetings for the Most Wishful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Kansas and its jurisdiction, and all the brothers from the jurisdiction of Kansas. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today to represent the brothers of Prince Hall Masonry across the country, and more especially to pay tribute to the Buffalo Soldiers, who played an integral part in the establishment of Masonry in the Dakota Territory. African Americans served honorably in every conflict, from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War, but usually as volunteers, not as Army regulars. After the Civil War, Congress reorganized the U.S. Army to include 6 regiments of colored troops led by white officers. By 1870, 4 infantry units had been established or combined to form the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, and also served as the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiment. Eventually, these 4 regiments of regulars would serve at many posts from Texas to North Dakota. In time, they came to be known as the Buffalo Soldiers. A Prince Hall Lodge, Eureka number 135, was established in Fort Buford, Dakota Territory, and in what is now North Dakota. At the time, nowhere else in the United States could men of different color and race mix socially as they did at Fort Buford. Both white and black men participated in baseball and rifle competition and other activities in their spare time. Buffalo Soldiers were also stationed and helped establish Fort Meade, a short ways from here in Sturgis. Freemasonry continues to have a strong bond with the men who wear the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. We have a strong love of country and are among the most patriotic of all citizens. This is borne out by the fact that my own Grand Lodge, the most wishful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Kansas, chartered a lodge in South Dakota, North Star number 114, at Ellsworth Air Force Base, just a few miles from here, to serve the needs of the modern-day Buffalo Soldiers stationed here. Thank you.
have the distinct pleasure of inviting another guest up here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Edith C. Wong and her family members. Edith C. Wong of San Luis Obispo, California, is a great-granddaughter of Deadwood pioneer and prominent Chinese merchant Fei Li Wong, who arrived in Deadwood. Fei Li Wong arrived in Deadwood in 1876 and was a member of the community for the next 43 years before returning to China. With her mother Beatrice, Edith carries on the passion for genealogy begun by her late father, Cam Leon Wong. She made several visits to Deadwood and has published her ancestral legacy in Deadwood Magazine, South Dakota History, and the Society of Black Hills Pioneers Annual Heritage Book. She has joined efforts with the City of Deadwood, the Deadwood Historic Preservation Commission, the Adams Museum, Days of 76, and Deadwood History, Inc. towards preserving the Chinese history of the Black Hills. Edith is here today with family members from California. Her mother, Beatrice Wong, her paternal aunt, Anna Wu, and her eldest son, Robert Leon Melican. Please come forward.
Good morning. And it's a wonderful morning in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. Thank you, Grand Master Mike Rodman, for inviting me to participate in today's celebration. I met Mike back in 2004 in Deadwood, and I could never forget his kindness and support during a large family gathering for the first reunion of the descendants of my paternal great-grandfather, Fei Li Wong. Mike and I realized that the Masonic heritage in South Dakota has at times been directly connected with my ancestral heritage in the Black Hills. Those occurrences of cross-cultural brotherly friendship, although over a century old, have relevance for today. Communities are bettered by benevolent society in which individuals as a collective give encouragement, support, and aid. A bit about my paternal great-grandfather, Fei Li Wong. As a young man, he traveled from Canton, China to California and eventually made his way to Deadwood, South Dakota in 1876. After the gold rush began, he witnessed the influx of many ethnic groups, including the Chinese who worked in mines, restaurants, laundries, and stores. He saw the Chinese labor that built the railroad that connected the Black Hills with other parts of the United States. Unlike most, he stayed, and Deadwood became his home for 43 years. He established a business, the Wingsway Emporium, brought back a bride after a trip to China, raised a family of 8 children in Deadwood, participated in celebrations of his adopted country, and shared his culture with his non-Chinese neighbors. Fei Li Wong developed brotherly friendships with fellow Deadwood citizens, including Mason Seth Bullock and past Grand Master Masons of Montana, Solomon Starr, and Dr. Heinrich Whittlestein. These prominent citizens and members of Deadwood Lodge No. 7 helped Fei Li Wong establish a Chinese Masonic Lodge in 1879. The lodge was not part of Freemasonry, but nevertheless served the purpose of a benevolent society whose members took care of their fellow brothers. The Chinese Masons provided funeral ceremonies at Mount Moriah Cemetery. As these, as well as other Chinese observances, were open to the public, locals were exposed to ethnic diversity, contributing to community bettered by tolerance of a mix of cultures. Another illustration of brotherly bond occurred in 1904. Due to the Chinese Exclusion Act at the time, upon returning from a trip to China, Fei Li Wong was detained